My designated seat is right here in the right rear passenger seat because that way everybody knows who the highest ranking VIP is in the car. And I don't think that's secret, right, Albert?
No.
That's protocol.
Protocol.
Yeah. And one of my great thrills was the first time General Petraeus came to the Netherlands, because he's been here now twice since I've been here. I met him at the Ministry of Defense where he was making his first stop to pay a courtesy call on the Minister of Defense. It's equivalent to our Secretary of State. And I accompanied him to that meeting, and afterwards I accompanied him to his car to go to the next meeting. And when we got to his car, his aide-de-camp, a colonel, opened the left rear drawer for me, and General Petraeus said, "No, sir, she outranks me in this country," meaning I was to have the right rear seat. Approaching the embassy. So they confirmed the change in date?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. It's on the calendar?
Yes. The other thing is the architect.
The ambassador is the special representative of the President of the United States to a foreign government. The U.S. mission to the Kingdom of the Netherlands has to have a titular head. When we communicate formally with governments, these things have to come from the office that represents the President as part of the executive branch. The most important thing is that they represent, in particular, the views and positions of the President.
I got the call in March, so a year ago, from a friend in the White House who asked whether I would like to be ambassador to the Netherlands. And I have to say that probably my heart stopped for a minute or a second because it was just such a thrill. And I had no idea the call was coming at that time. And I thought, I hope I can do it.
Well, the first special envoy here was John Adams. Ambassador Levin is the 65th U.S. ambassador. And although some of the others may have had some Dutch heritage, she's the first person, I think, who had Dutch parents.
When I learned that my wife was appointed as ambassador, was to be thrilled for her because she wanted it so much and she was going to be so good at it, and she had such attachment to Holland that it was just a wonderful experience in her life to be appointed as ambassador.
Every ambassador is unique. In her case, she has not only the Dutch heritage, but she's been coming back and forth all of her life and maintaining this relationship.
She's a lawyer by training, but so she's appreciative of the issues and appreciates what's going on.
And she established, probably without knowing it, a very enviable network of contacts and a background to make her understand the nature of U.S. politics, and it's come in quite handy here.
It's always important to have a U.S. ambassador, but I think there is a good match between this ambassador and the Dutch audience, the Dutch people, the Dutch government.
Well, I'm proud to say that we did do one of the first interviews when she came to the Netherlands last year, and I think that Dutch media are very interested in her because she has Dutch roots, so to say, and that makes it extra special for us.
And we've had such a long history of a strong relationship with the Netherlands and the U.S. Last year we celebrated 400 years of continuous friendship between the U.S. and the Netherlands that I feel confident that we'll work with whatever coalition is running the government.
The Hague is, like I said, unique because of some of the international courts and tribunals here, and it's a real center for international law, actually. And getting more so with the increasing number of international criminal trials that are taking place. And our job primarily here is to serve as the face and ears, so to speak, of the United States.
I'm the link and the liaison between the residence and the embassy, and so anything to do with the maintenance of the residence, ordering for the ambassador, anything to do with the embassy and here, I organise. I keep schedules, CMR schedules, event schedules, And financially, I run a budget here so that we have to make sure that the chef is buying good produce and good cheap produce. We cut the budget, I think, by about 50% in the last year.
No, I don't find that very difficult. It's a question of good planning and organizing. And because I can do it myself, working with the ambassador, it works very fine this way.
I think a lot of my colleagues make the mistake of thinking they're still in the United States, and then they're shocked when they find out they're not. All countries are unique, all histories are different, and you need to be sensitive to the variations and the differences. The Dutch are very familiar with us and very open to Americans. Here, the Dutch exist in their own right. They make their own decisions. One of the refreshing sort of side effects of this is they're open to working on whatever they can collaborate with you on, and the other politics don't get in the way. The Dutch are quite adept at agreeing with you and working with you on the things they can, and bracketing the problem areas and putting them aside. They understand there are areas where you're not going to see eye to eye. That doesn't get in the way of normal business.
You walk here in the city, in a European city, and you see almost everywhere the influence of the United States. Gives you the feeling, here we are in the United States of America almost. But there are definitely differences, and one of the most interesting ones, I think, is how you handle diversity. And I have to compliment the ambassador, because she organized already a conference about diversity.
For me, as an ambassador, the way in which I view myself as most effective is as a networker and as a convener of people with different interests.
I hope that everybody who was able to make it to Steve Smith's presentation found it interesting, useful, and might otherwise be able to come up with more opportunities for him.
We have various reporting channels when we obtain useful information for someone in the State Department or another agency in the States. But I think one of the ways in which we can use all of this information is through a conference that we might sponsor jointly with an appropriate Dutch agency or Dutch branch of government, and then bring all of the ideas together, all the people together to share it and maybe produce something that can then be shared more widely or distributed more widely.
Buying products or services in the spending in the States is what we're looking to for foreign interests, and I think the way you're doing that to capitalize on what you already have as an international market for all of the things going on here is really a good idea.
There is a natural relation, I think, with the U.S. ambassador opening her residence for Dutch business people, politicians, all kinds of people from Dutch society, so a very good ambassador.
I'm very pleased you're here this afternoon for another version of our cultural diplomacy. One of the things that I, as ambassador, like to do is sort of mix up groups of people from different areas of interest and work or countries. And I think today is special because we have a mixture of students, and we haven't done that here since I've been here, so I think it's particularly nice, and I think that you all share some interest in the studies that you're doing. I know that our students had a chance to visit London University, and that was special.
One of the things that I have tried to do in terms of scheduling is to schedule what we call a provincial visit every month, which there are 12 provinces in the Netherlands. And during each of these provincial visits, not only to get me out into different areas so people can see me, but so that I can learn more about that area. I meet with people in universities or schools, I meet with people in the local government, I meet with businesses locally, cultural places like musea, things like that. So I can talk to people and also understand the culture of the various areas of the country.
Well, the Dutch do have their own educational priorities. A lot of them are on budget, curriculum, and integration of the minority populations. They have a completely different school system than we do, and we're not trying to replicate the U.S. system or give them advice on how to do theirs. What we're mostly interested in is reaching out to students, and she's done a very effective job of that. We're not trying to change the Dutch system of education, but we do offer a certain amount of expertise from her, and we try to double up on that sometimes by bringing in specialists from the United States.
In terms of higher education, it is more likely that the Dutch will try to replicate our system than vice versa. And that's because our system, which has the students or their families investing more at the time, makes it more effective in terms of the students applying themselves and getting done in 4 or 5 years for undergraduate work. And I think the government can't afford to continue to subsidize higher education the way it's been doing, because it's virtually all paid for by the government. And so they can't continue that way economically. It doesn't look realistic. I visited Nike. It was really at my request because they scored so high on a rating of American companies. Nike was impressive to me because they're considered a very green company, and it seems logical that they are green because their products deal with health and fitness. And so I went there because I was interested to see not only how a big U.S. company operates in the Netherlands, but to understand more about how they got this commitment to sustainability, how they got to be known as a green company, and how that shows up both in their transportation challenges, their production challenges, and in their product. I was hoping that they could help us get something like this, which had a message on it. You know, I'm not a plastic cup for the 4th of July celebration. So we could, I mean, it would be a great message for the 4th of July.
No, you're right. On their website, they're talking about turning corn into plastic.
Yeah.
Reduces the use of petroleum in the plastics industry.
Yeah. One of the things that I have heard, I haven't visited it personally yet, but I know that I will shortly, is sort of a simple concept, something that's been on my mind for a long time, which is the idea that the Dutch and other Europeans burn their trash for energy. And it's always seemed to me that garbage is one of the more renewable resources we have because we produce so much of it. And why it's so common here and we haven't really seemed to have conquered it in the States, I don't understand, and that's something I'm trying to understand. It is an incredible honor to represent the United States anywhere as an ambassador. Here is a wonderful place for me to do it because I have strong connections to the country through my family history. And it's pleased me that the Dutch have been so appreciative of the connection, and they realize that I had great respect and love for their country. I stood in front of the palace as they played the national anthem, our national anthem, and all I could think about was how proud I was to be an American in this country.
Did I ever tell you that story, Albert?
No.
It's a good one, huh?
I listen now.
It's a good story, though, isn't it?